Before anything else, drop a like right now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because that helps the content reach more people and makes sure you don't miss any important updates about what's happening in the NBA at this decisive moment of the season. The league's landscape has shifted quietly over the last few weeks, but anyone following the behind-the-scenes closely has already noticed that something big is taking shape. This isn't just another loose rumor or those empty trade deadline speculations. This time, the moves are real, the conversations are happening, and some of the NBA's most powerful franchises are locked in a true chess match where any decision made now can end up costing a lot later. The Golden State Warriors are one of the teams at the center of this tension. The San Francisco squad has been studying the market very carefully, trying to find a way to improve the roster without completely compromising the future. And one specific name has started gaining real traction behind the scenes: Michael Porter Jr., currently with the Brooklyn Nets. The wing has begun to be seen internally as a piece capable of raising the team's level immediately. Sources connected to the market indicate that the Warriors' interest in Michael Porter Jr. isn't new, but it has now reached a different level. Since the start of the year, the player has been closely monitored, with detailed reports on his performance, his physical development, and, above all, his ability to take on an offensive starring role. However, in that earlier phase, the front office still showed some hesitation. The biggest question was whether it would be worth entering a heavy negotiation, possibly involving draft picks, something the team has always treated as a valuable asset. The context changed. The approach of the trade deadline has put pressure on every franchise that still dreams of contending for a title. The Golden State Warriors, currently sitting only 8th in the Western Conference, know they can't afford to wait too long. Stephen Curry is still playing at a high level, but the clock doesn't stop, and every wasted season weighs even more when you're talking about a player of that caliber. That's exactly why the possibility of a trade for Michael Porter Jr. has started being discussed in a more concrete way. The wing is living the best stretch of his career. After leaving the Denver Nuggets, where he won an NBA championship in 2023, he found in Brooklyn the space he needed to show everything he's capable of. He's no longer just a talented supporting piece, but a player who takes responsibility, calls for the ball, and puts up elite numbers. This season, Porter is posting impressive averages. Nearly 26 points per game, more than 7 rebounds, and a little over 3 assists, along with three-point shooting above 40%. That places him in a select group of complete wings, players who can score in volume, space the floor, and still contribute defensively when the system supports it. That performance explains why the Brooklyn Nets aren't in any rush to negotiate. Internally, the franchise knows it holds an extremely valuable asset. Any conversation involving Michael Porter Jr. starts with high demands, and one of them is clear. There's no deal without at least one unprotected first-round draft pick, plus other relevant assets. The same applies to Nick Claxton, another important name on the roster, which makes the Nets' firmness in negotiations very clear. For the Warriors, that creates a dilemma. On one side, there's the urgent need to improve the roster around Stephen Curry. On the other, there's the fear of compromising the future with draft picks that could be crucial in the coming years. That's why the idea of involving multiple teams in the deal came up, something increasingly common in the modern NBA. Jonathan Kuminga appears as the central piece in this possible puzzle. The young wing has a market, is seen as a promising talent, and draws interest from several franchises. Lakers, Kings, and Mavericks are mentioned as teams closely tracking Kuminga's situation and could step in as a third team, smoothing the path for the Warriors to reach Michael Porter Jr. without sending all their assets directly to the Brooklyn Nets. This complex engineering shows just how delicate the landscape is. Nothing is simple, nothing is straightforward. Every move has to be calculated with not only the immediate impact in mind, but also what could happen over the next few months. And this is where the situation across the league as a whole gets even more complicated. We've reached a real stalemate in the NBA. There are only a few weeks left until the trade deadline, and several major franchises seem frozen, watching the market without making definitive decisions. That's not happening by accident. there's a massive factor hanging over all these negotiations. One name that completely changes the value of any asset on the table: Giannis Antetokounmpo. The mere possibility that a player of that level could become available is enough to freeze the market. Teams like the Warriors, Lakers, Heat, Knicks, and even the Hawks are stuck at a crossroads. Improve now with a meaningful trade, or hold every resource and wait to see if a chance emerges to chase a historic player. Analysts close to the league explain that making a big trade too early could mean dropping out of the Giannis race. If a franchise spends its best draft picks and young talents now for a short-term upgrade, it may end up without the ammunition if the Greek star truly asks out or is officially put on the market. On the other hand, waiting too long is also a huge risk. Stars get older, championship windows close fast, and a lost season can be irreversible for teams that live for the present. The Golden State Warriors are exactly at that breaking point. They can't simply throw away another year of Stephen Curry, but they also don't want to end up empty-handed if the biggest opportunity of the decade appears. On the Milwaukee Bucks' side, the situation isn't simple either. Although there are rumors about Giannis Antetokounmpo's desire to compete immediately for another title, nothing indicates the franchise is ready to give up on him right now. On the contrary, there is a real possibility that the Bucks take an aggressive approach on the market, giving up their last available draft picks to bring in reinforcements that convince Giannis that winning in Milwaukee is still possible. That changes everything. If the Bucks go hard in the market and decide to keep their star, teams that waited could end up without major options when the deadline arrives. And in that environment of uncertainty, the rumor involving Michael Porter Jr. carries even more weight. For the Warriors, Porter represents something concrete, tangible, available now. He isn't a distant promise, and he isn't a hope dependent on another franchise's decision. He's a player in full ascent, capable of making an immediate impact on any team with real title ambitions. Scouts around the league are almost unanimous when talking about the wing. The evaluation is that he fits into any competitive system. He's shown he can shine as a primary option, but he also proved during his Denver years that he can share the spotlight with other stars and raise the team's overall level. That versatility is exactly what teams like the Warriors are looking for right now. The big question is how far Golden State is willing to go. Giving up draft picks now can mean betting everything on the present, but it can also be the only way to avoid wasting an era that's entering its final chapters. With each passing day, the market tightens, options shrink, and pressure increases. And meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking toward February 5th, 2026, the NBA trade deadline. Until then, difficult decisions will have to be made, and each one of them can redefine the future of multiple franchises at the same time. As the deadline gets closer, the atmosphere inside franchises changes completely. Meetings become more frequent. Conversations that were once informal take on an urgent tone, and any new information can alter an entire strategy built over months. In the Golden State Warriors case, the internal feeling is that time is running out for a clear direction. Staying merely competitive isn't enough. The franchise knows it needs to make a real leap if it wants this season to become something bigger than just a playoff spot. The possibility of bringing in Michael Porter Jr. appears precisely as that bridge between the present and the immediate future. He's not a player at the end of his career, nor someone who would require years of adjustment. He's a wing in his physical prime, confident, productive, and already proven under pressure. His ability to score in different ways eases the offensive load on Stephen Curry and creates a positive ripple effect across the entire system. With Porter on the floor, defenses can't simply collapse on Curry. Spacing improves, opposing defensive rotations become tougher, and players like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green start finding more favorable situations. It's not just a name swap, it's a structural change in how the team functions. But every advantage comes with a cost. The Brooklyn Nets understand perfectly the value of the asset they hold. The franchise isn't desperate, doesn't need to rush a rebuild, and doesn't have to answer to outside pressure. That allows the team to take a firm, almost cold, stance in negotiations. Every conversation begins with high draft picks and young talent, with no easy concessions. That's where the engineering of a multi-team trade becomes almost mandatory. The Warriors want to avoid giving the Nets everything they're asking for directly. At the same time, there are teams that see Jonathan Kuminga as an interesting opportunity. Young, athletic, and with upside, he can be the kind of bet that franchises at different points in their competitive cycle are willing to make. Los Angeles Lakers, Sacramento Kings, and Dallas Mavericks show up as possible partners in this scenario, each for different reasons. The Lakers want youth and energy around their stars. The Kings see value in talents who haven't hit their ceiling yet. The Mavericks, always attentive to versatile wings, see Kuminga as a name who can grow alongside their main players. This domino effect is what can unlock the deal. Meanwhile, the entire market remains stalled by the shadow of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even without any official confirmation, the simple rumor that he could become available completely changes how franchises behave. Executives ask themselves daily whether to act now or wait one more week, a few more days, one more signal coming from Milwaukee. Analysts who follow the back channels describe this moment as one of the most tense in years. Rarely have so many relevant teams been so afraid to move. The fear isn't making a mistake. It's making a mistake in timing, trading too early and losing the chance to chase a generational player, or waiting too long and ending up with a roster that can't realistically compete for anything concrete. The Golden State Warriors feel that weight even more intensely. Stephen Curry is still delivering high-level performances, but he isn't eternal. Every season matters. Every poorly calculated decision can mean wasting one of the greatest talents in basketball history. That's why, internally, the discussion isn't only technical, it's almost philosophical. Go all in now or protect tomorrow. On the other side, the Milwaukee Bucks are holding important cards. There's a real possibility the franchise decides to go all in at this trade deadline, hunting reinforcements that raise the roster's level and reinforce the commitment to Giannis Antetokounmpo. If that happens, the market could flip upside down in a matter of days. Players who seem available today could disappear quickly, and teams that waited could find themselves without relevant options. That scenario strengthens the logic of pursuing someone like Michael Porter Jr. now even more. He doesn't depend on external decisions, and he isn't conditioned by moves from other giant franchises. He's available for the right price, and in the eyes of many around the league, that price could be worth it. Scouts describe Porter as an almost universal fit. His size, reliable shooting, and ability to create his own offense make him a rare player. With the Brooklyn Nets, he showed he can lead, take responsibility, and stay efficient, even while being the main target of opposing defenses. That answers one of the biggest doubts people had about him in the past. In the Warriors' context, that growth is seen as fundamental. It's not just about adding talent. It's about diversifying offensive options in big games, when defenses tighten and every possession matters. Porter offers exactly that. Consistent scoring without relying exclusively on plays drawn up specifically for him. At the same time, the front office knows any misstep can compromise the future for years. Draft picks aren't just numbers. They're renewal opportunities, valuable trade assets, and a safety net if the main plan doesn't work. Giving them up requires complete conviction that the return will justify the risk. That's why the next few weeks promise to be decisive. Talks advance, pull back, gain new pieces, lose momentum. A single leak of information can change the course of an entire negotiation. And meanwhile, fans watch, speculate, and feel the anxiety rise with every day that passes without a clear definition. The trade deadline, set for February 5, 2026, works like a ticking time bomb. When it expires, all bets will be placed. Those who acted, acted. Those who waited will have to live with the consequences. For the Golden State Warriors, that decision may define not only the rest of the season, but the final legacy of the Stephen Curry era. Whether they bet on Michael Porter Jr. or wait for an even bigger move on the market, one thing is certain: staying still is no longer a comfortable option. The way the pieces fit, the outside pressure, and the league-wide context are pushing the franchise toward a choice that will be remembered for a long time. If you want to keep following all of this closely, drop a like right now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That strengthens the content, helps the channel grow, and makes sure you're always on top of the decisions that can completely change the direction of the NBA. The NBA landscape is constantly evolving, and one of the moves that has generated a lot of speculation is the potential arrival of Kai Sotto to the Golden State Warriors for the 2025 season. This rumor has been gaining momentum recently, with reports indicating that the team is in discreet negotiations to secure the signing of the Filipino center, who has been making a name for himself in international leagues. If this transaction goes through, it would not only change the game on the court, but also have a massive impact off the court, especially within the Filipino community, which already feels represented by Sotto in many parts of the world. Standing at 2.18 meters tall, Kai Sotto stands out as an imposing presence on the court, but his influence goes beyond his height. He is a complete athlete, whose skills make him one of the most exciting prospects in the NBA. His combination of height, wingspan, and technical abilities is rare. As a defender, Sotto is an effective shot blocker, using his excellent reaction time and long wingspan to protect the rim. But it's not just his defense that catches attention. His offensive ability, especially his mid-range shooting, sets him apart from many other centers in the league. His versatility on offense makes him a key asset for teams that prioritize modern basketball, which demands diverse skills from its players. Kai Sotto's development didn't happen overnight. Born in the Philippines, a country where basketball is almost a religion, he quickly drew attention due to his natural talent and, most importantly, his dedication. His journey as a player began early, but to reach an international level, he had to venture outside his homeland. This led him to play in the National Basketball League, NBL, in Australia, where he faced a much higher level of competition. His ability to stand out in such a competitive setting solidified him as a cornerstone player for his teams, both offensively and defensively. Kai not only proved his worth but also became an icon of Filipino basketball, showcasing the potential of the nation on the global stage. Kai Sotto's journey continued when he moved to the B-League in Japan. There, he had the chance to further develop, facing top-tier opponents while taking the name of the Philippines to new heights. His adaptation to international basketball was remarkable, and his skills as a defender and his ability to represent Filipino culture made him one of the most admired players in the league. Now, with the possibility of joining the NBA, Sotto feels ready to take on the greatest challenge of his career so far, and the team that might help him in this process is the Golden State Warriors, a franchise known for its fast and dynamic style of play. But beyond being an innovative team, the Warriors also have a clear need in their roster: the lack of a dominant presence in the paint. This has been a deficiency that, while the team has overcome it in many seasons with its fast-paced play and three-point shooting, remains an area that could be strengthened. And this is exactly where Kai Sotto fits in. If signed, Kai's impact on the Warriors would be immediate. His ability to grab rebounds, both defensively and offensively, would provide a significant advantage to the team, especially during fast breaks, which are a hallmark of the Warriors' playing style. Additionally, his ability to protect the rim would be a valuable addition to the team's defense. In moments when the team needs a strong presence in the paint, Sotto could be the player capable of making a difference. The Warriors' offense would also benefit from his presence. His ability to shoot mid-range would open up more space for perimeter players, allowing the Golden State team to further explore its fast-paced plays and three-point shooting. Sotto's offensive flexibility is something the Warriors need to continue innovating and remain one of the top forces in the NBA. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Hit the bell to get the latest news firsthand. Thank you for watching and see you next time.